Hello, Skype audience, and thank you for joining me for this persuasive speech, which is entitled Gluten-Free is the Way to Be. Not again, you think, as the familiar hot, burning sensation begins in your chest and creeps up your throat. You used to experience heartburn only occasionally, but now it seems to occur more frequently. Your stomach begins to ache and you begin to grow anxious. Your skin starts to itch and you feel like your brain is restless. Are these just signs you're getting older, or is there something else going on? Heartburn, stomach pain, indigestion, constipation, and diarrhea are among the most common reasons people see their doctors or seek medication. Many people believe that these problems are normal occurrences of digestion or an aging digestive system. If you suffer from any of these on a regular basis or have unexplainable migraines, fatigue, or foggy thinking, you will want to pay attention to what I'm going to tell you. Through my research and my experience of knowing a mother with celiac disease, I have discovered how essential it is to having testing done if you experience any of the given symptoms. Today, I'd like to warn you about the serious problem of celiac disease and how gluten-free diets can increase your energy and improve the quality of your life. I will present you with what your stomach could be telling you, the harmful effects of the disease, and also how you can treat it. By doing this, you will know all about celiac disease, and you can share this information with somebody you know that is suffering from the conditions. Persistent or worsening digestive distress is often your body's way of telling you that something is wrong. With an early diagnosis, your digestive problems can be successfully treated and managed. Now, these are some of the things that your stomach could be telling you. These are the common signs, which mean the onset or possibly a diagnosis of the disease. Some of these signs could be diarrhea, flatulence, abdominal bloating, or increased amounts of fat in your stool, which is called steatorrhea. And this would be a sign of inadequate absorption of fat or fat malabsorption. Now, a sign that you are not getting appropriate amounts of lactose would mean signs also of diarrhea, abdominal pain, bloating, or abdominal distension as well. If you notice that you are experiencing weight loss or fluid retention, the signs of that would be an inadequate absorption of carbohydrates, proteins, and fat. There could be reduced blood protein levels, which cause edema, which is also known as swelling, especially seen in the ankles and the feet. And that is according to the Mayo Clinic of an article written in 2012. Another sign you may see is easy bruising of your skin. This is attributed to the lack of absorption of vitamin K. Celiac disease has over 300 known symptoms, and that was found in an article written by Wilson in 2012. Now, this disease is actually more common than people think. 5 to 10% of all people suffer from some form of gluten sensitivity. So that means that 1 out of 133 Americans, which comes to the sum of about 3 million people in America, have celiac disease. According to Torkos and Turner in 2009, 97% of estimated Americans with celiac disease have not been diagnosed. So this disease, as you can see, affects people all over the world. Even adults and children can have the disease. This disease is actually more common today than it was 50 years ago. And according to Roberts and Lehan of 2012, this disease is 4 times more common today than it was 50 years ago. Also, according to Torkos and Turner, for every person diagnosed, another 30 people have it but are not diagnosed. For children, this disease is apparent 3 to 5 months after first ingesting gluten products. In some cases, it is as soon as 1 month that it can be seen, and according to Cupper in 2007, for children, gluten-containing cereals should not be introduced until 6 months of life. Another sign that you may see is personality changes, which can occur in children with celiac disease. They can be unable to concentrate, they can be irritable, cranky, and they may have decreased mental alertness. They also may have decreased memory function. Babies with celiac disease will lose weight, and according to Cupper in 2007, once gluten is introduced to the diet, the baby will lose its appetite and refuse feedings. So these are some of the signs that you can look for in your children. People in the future family are at risk if the disease has a history in your family. 5 to 10% chance of getting this disease if someone in your family has it. Now that's not very big, but it's still a risk factor. So if someone in your family does have the disease, don't make them feel isolated. You can consider putting the whole family on a gluten-free diet. You should educate your family members who have the disease and you can teach the family about the disease and your digestive system. Now, these would be some things that would be helpful to do if someone in your family has celiac disease, or possibly if you are worried that they could develop it. Now, moving along from the symptoms that you may see of the disease, these are the actual effects that the disease will have. Now, it can cause someone to lose or gain weight, which seems kind of weird, but let me explain it to you. In Exceptional Parent, a magazine, which was published in 2011, an article says, from a testimony, this is a woman named Vicky. She says, "I've lost 1.5 pounds just since last night, and I will go a week or two not losing anything, and then all of a sudden, I've lost 10 pounds in 3 days. I weigh every morning and keep track of my weight so I can tell my doctor if needed. It really bothers me how fast it's coming off." So, doctors may think that testing for this is useful if you're obese, and they may say that eating gluten can cause the disease to become sicker, which is proven. The disease can cause irreparable small intestine damage. This sounds scary, so it's important to get your family tested if you think they have symptoms. Now, what happens with the irreparable small intestine damage is that it causes the villi in your stomach or your small intestine to become hard and slick instead of plush and soft, how they should be. The lining in the intestine becomes thinner, and you could have internal bleeding, which could lead to surgery having to be performed if symptoms severely increase. So, what I recommend is getting a test to see if you have celiac disease. You should ask your doctor for a blood test. The test should show higher than normal levels of certain autoantibodies, and the test should show high levels of anti-tissue transglutaminase antibodies, also known as TGA, or anti-endomysium antibodies, also known as EMA, and that's according to Goatsman in 2012. If these tests are negative but the disease is still suspected, additional blood tests may be needed. This disease can cause anxiety, depression, fatigue, migraines, and seizures, which in turn all affect the digestive system. Now, the digestive system, believe it or not, is closely connected to mental health, and it is closely connected to emotional well-being. So, what you should do is get increased physical activity. You should also engage your mind in positive thinking patterns. You should adapt lifestyle and understand anxiety causes. And also, malabsorption of nutrients is also linked to brain function. You should seek psychological support if gluten-free diet does not solve your problem. Celiac disease can lead to other diseases and problems as well. The link between diseases can be genetic, which causes the body to attack healthy cells in the immune system. The other diseases that are linked to celiac disease include type 1 diabetes, thyroid disease, liver disease, rheumatoid arthritis, and Addison's disease. Now that I've told you the effects of the disease and also what can cause it, what you can expect to see, I'm going to tell you some tasty ways you can battle celiac disease and also ways that you can improve your life quality. So the good news is you can relieve your symptoms if you have celiac disease. You should seek to find a gluten-free diet. Gluten is protein found in wheat, barley, rye, and oats if contaminated at the mill site. What the gluten does in the celiac disease is it blocks nutrients from being absorbed. Now, the symptoms are relieved, therefore, if gluten is not eaten. And what's interesting to know, and it is very helpful to know, that according to Smith in 2008, small amounts of gluten have the exact same effect as large amounts. You can seek medical plans which can help with the cost for testing and doctor visits, which I recommend for anybody. And some plans that can be found are deductible plans for blood testing and hospital visits. U.S. citizens have the disadvantage with this disease, unfortunately. In Britain, patients are prescribed gluten-free products, and in Italy, sufferers are given a stipend to spend on gluten-free food. Now, there's so many people in the U.S. with this disease that the government can't afford to hand out money for this disease, but if you shop right and you look for ads and sales, you can find good deals on gluten-free products. So, you can find tasty gluten-free foods. I know the mother of a friend I know was very concerned when she found out that she wasn't going to be able to find good foods that were comparable to what she was eating before, but the symptoms were so bad she was willing to try it. So, some foods that you like. Baby cakes. They are a vegan and gluten-free bakery in Manhattan who makes and ships delicious cake donuts. There are also whole grain muffins by Shauna James Ahern. You can look these up on the internet if you would like. There's also Bob's Red Mill in Milwaukee, Oregon. This includes gluten-free products among grains and flours for sale. And at Bob's Red Mill, you can find more than 70 gluten-free products for sale. Supermarkets also carry gluten-free products. You can find flour mixes for baking, sweet potatoes that are gluten-free, and xanthan and guar gum, which give baked goods structure and texture that is desired for food. More than 60 gluten-free cookbooks have been published in 2010, and that was from the source Brody in 2002. So I'm sure since 2010, there have been plenty more good cookbooks put out for this gluten-free diet. Gluten-free diets can actually also help you lose weight. So if you're concerned that your family is going to be, the ones that don't have the celiac disease, if you're concerned that they're going to be affected negatively by this switch to a gluten-free diet, I don't think so. My sources have also told me that there are natural choices available that do not contain gluten, such as beans, seeds, natural nuts that are also unprocessed. There are fresh eggs, fresh meats, fish, and poultry, which you should avoid, poultry that's not breaded or batter coated or marinated. There's also fruits and vegetables which don't contain gluten, and most dairy products don't contain gluten. So, those are a lot of choices right there on foods you can choose that don't have gluten. Some more things that don't have gluten, excuse me, are grains and starches such as buckwheat, flax, rice, soy, corn, potato, and bean flours, corn, millet, and quinoa. Rice and tapioca are also among this list that do not contain gluten. So, I know this sounds crazy, but gluten-free diets actually give you more energy, and non-celiac disease people can benefit. There's another testimony that I found that I thought you would think was interesting. This was found from a source, Leffler, in 2011. This testimony from a patient in 2009 says, "I really did try about just everything to lose weight. When I went gluten-free, I never counted a single calorie, never once felt deprived, and I finally felt alive again. I have unlimited energy all the time now, and the best thing about my new lifestyle is that it is so easy. There are so many items today that are available gluten-free and so many gluten-free recipes that you will never get bored with your meals. I went from 206 pounds to 126 pounds when I changed to a gluten-free diet." Now, I think that's a really positive testimony for anybody that's feeling down about the disease or doubting that the gluten-free diet is actually essential to not only celiac disease affect people, but just people in general. So, whether you need to follow a gluten-free diet because of celiac disease, a wheat allergy, or just want to feel better, it is really quite easy. As a group of individuals, we are not educating each other enough on the symptoms and effects of celiac disease. By educating each other, we can learn to diagnose the disease early, or we can reduce small intestine damage by telling people about this disease and treating it very early on. We can learn the facts about celiac disease, the harmful effects, how you can treat it, and the facts about a gluten-free diet and how you can implement it in your life today. And by doing this, you will know all about celiac disease, and you can share this information with somebody you know that is suffering from the conditions. Persistent or worsening digestive distress is often your body's way of telling you that something is wrong. With an early diagnosis of this disease, your digestive problems can be successfully treated and managed. Thanks for joining me, Skype audience. This has been a first for me, and I hope you have a good night. Thank you.